Good morning. This is Frank Urogwin, and I'm right here in the lobby of the Rex Theater in downtown Vale with Sandijean Fuson. Now, Sandijean and Mike own the Rex Theater. They own the Drexel Hotel. They're involved with all sorts of things. In fact, Mike is a former mayor of the city of Vale. Sandijean is a chief honcho of the Drexel Foundation, and I'm sure she'll mention that. And she's been a lawyer, and I was trying to think how long, and I know it is in excess of 2 decades. How long have you actually been practicing here in Vale?
Since 1986, that's when I opened my law
86.
practice.
How about 3+ decades? Sandijean, tell us a little bit about yourself, your life, and your work here in Vale.
Okay, well, I could go on forever, but I'll try to make it brief. My parents moved here in the 70s. I thought I was going to go to LA and be a lawyer, or maybe Miami, but then I fell in love with Vale. And so I decided to open my law practice here. And I've had my practice and lived here full time since 1986. I think that to know my background is to know that I grew up in Portland, have a degree in theater, dance, and political science that went on to the great law school of Lewis and Clark. The best way to describe me in a short sentence is when I came to Vale and I saw that there were needs to fill. I have that kind of see a need, fill a need mentality. So Mike and I purchased the Rex Theater in 1989 because it had been closed for quite some time and there was nothing for the kids that we were mentoring to do. And that was their excuse to see Judge Urogwin and get in trouble. And so we provided them with some kind of work. They could clean up and get free tickets and bring girls and work behind the concession stand. A couple of them ended up being projectionists. The great thing about filling those needs is those folks that you mentor come back and they've brought their children here and they live here now. And some of the projectionists keep saying, yeah, we remember when. As far as the Drexel Foundation goes, that was created because of a brilliant woman, Marion Caputi, came to me as an attorney and asked if I knew anything about if a building was on the National Register of Historic Places, if they could tear it down. I said, oh, I took that in law school. And so then I appeared with her in front of the city council, and that city council way back in the 90s felt like they had no choice but to tear it down. So they tried to put it up for bid. They tried to get people to buy it. Nobody. So I went to Mike McLaughlin, who had played professional baseball, and I knew he had a little bit of money left. And I asked him, would you buy these 2 buildings so that they aren't tore down? He contemplated it and he said, on one condition, I'm not doing any of the work. And I made a deal. I would create the Drexel Foundation, a nonprofit, to do the restoration and he wouldn't have to do the work. Life is funny. He's done a lot of the work right next to our contractors. So those are some of the things that I'm involved in. I love being an attorney. I think that it is been one of the most satisfying things that I do, and I have a tendency to help the folks that nobody else will help. I don't know if I can change the whole world. I have kind of a saying. I can't change the whole world on this my time on this planet, but I can help people that need justice. I can help people by teaching them about art and expanding their creativity, and give them my love and my time. And those are some of my greatest gifts. So that's Sandijean.
That's great. She was talking about back when. I can remember being here, and it seemed so big when I was a little boy. And I can remember the Saturday afternoon matinees, 10 cents for a Saturday afternoon matinee. Boy, that was great. And it's great that you have been able to renovate and at least preserve this as well as the hotel, which is really the central place in Vale. Now, obviously, we have faced, and we are facing, a number of challenges, particularly in this coronavirus times. What challenges have you been thinking about, and perhaps feel that we really need to get together and try to do something about it all?
One of the great things about getting old is you get to see the circle of your impact. And so just before the coronavirus hit, I was counting my blessings about the great connections here, especially with some of the dancers that I volunteered to coach that are now our pharmacist and art teacher, et cetera, and the people that have been involved in the Drexel Foundation that come and volunteer and give back and bring their kids. The biggest challenge was that everybody lost that connection. And that was very difficult. It was difficult on me. I'm a hugger. I'm really touchy kind of person. I always reach out and touch folks. And turning into where things were virtual and turning into where things were just on the phone as an attorney was difficult. And as the executive director for Drexel, making our programs, switching them from on hands, which is what we do art camps and crash courses in film and different things like that, changing it from on hands activities to virtual activities. I have always kind of stayed away from social media. This year we had to embrace it because it was the only way to really connect out there into the stratosphere with folks. The upside is that we were able to engage folks from all over Oregon, Idaho. We had contestants from New York and Miami. And so the Drexel's impact wasn't just here in rural Oregon, it actually grew. And I would have never fathomed that from social media. And so I think that some of those folks are now going to come visit Vale. Who knows? You never know. They could move here. I mean, artists like small towns. But the challenge is that loss of connection. So for 2021, we worked with some brain trusts, and Mike McLaughlin and Casey Schaefer, and the Drexel Foundation board came up with a project, a Art Builds Community project, where we're going to do an art activity, and hopefully by the fall, the whole community could come help us paint it. Similar to the wonderful Mural Society, and then place those art pieces around, outside of town, around town, to just kind of put another layer into the economic tourism that we have that comes from art here in Vale.
Just brighten things up a little bit.
Yes, and also give an opportunity for all ages to come and connect. Art is a great catalyst for that. We found that with the Drexel Foundation, that a lot of introverts like to be involved, but they might be involved in one activity and not another. And for example, with the film festival and the crash course in film, some of our most introverted young men of our community are great photographers and editors and really flourish with the film program.
Well, getting involved, that's really an essential part of our community. Do you have any suggestions or thoughts about how to embrace and get people really involved in some of the things that you're talking about, as well as the community in general?
I think that, I don't know, it might have been Winston Churchill that says, you make a living, by what you make, and, you all have to have food and water and, place to stay, but you make your life by what you give. And I have found that people that give to others or give their time or volunteer, that they become more joyful and happy. So what kind of activities in Vale? Of course, the Drexel Foundation's always looking for volunteers. I should say that right to the camera. And we put calendar of events down at the old Drexel Hotel and at the Grand Opera House, as well as here at the theater, and now on social media. But there's also some great organizations. There's great organizations, and we have a fabulous group of churches in this town. Every church in this community I have been into and been welcomed by, and have found kind and wonderful people that inhabit those different churches. But I'm very proud of one of the girls that I mentored when she was young, Jen Tolman, that she has the Vale Coalition group that's trying to do things to help with the health. If we're allowed, we'll have Art Beat on Main Street, where we'll have vendors set up for volunteer activities. So this is a little commercial. That's in June. Come to that. It's free music, free. Everybody that's a vendor gives away free stuff. If we're able to do that, in conjunction with building healthy families and spring into a wellness fair, if we're able to, because of the coronavirus, we will do that again. And you can go from table to table to find out about different volunteer activities. I know that we're going to try to do a cleanup, and there are organizations that are trying to do things like that within this community. And of course, if you can get involved in the Scouts, if you're a grandma or grandpa, do that, or the girls or the Boy Scouts.
You know, you talked about getting old, and getting old. You know, one thing, when I wake up in the morning, I say, thank you, God, one more day. What do you, when you wake up in the morning, is there something that you think of and is something that really comes to mind being grateful for?
I'm very grateful for my family. My parents, George and Connie Fuson, taught me from very small about helping others and giving others a hand. And so every morning, I'm grateful for yoga because that gives me the opportunity to actually sit down and appreciate my body that it still moves. The dancing injuries are felt, and gives me an opportunity to pray and count my blessings, which are at the top of the list are my family, my brothers, my parents, all of the other family in my life that are not related, because my parents mentored hundreds of foster kids and uplifted tons of our family, immediate and very, very, very extended. So I'm thankful for my family, and I'm thankful that I live in this community. When the coronavirus hit, we were all in a big shock, but everybody seemed to reach out any way they could to help others. And I saw that. I was one of those that tried to contemplate and figure out how to help others. And so I'm just thankful. I'm just thankful that I'm here in Vale.
You know, you mentioned yoga. I don't know about you. Do you, are you able to stretch quite as easily as you used to?
Oh, no. I can do the splits at 42. I can't do them no more.
In fact, probably an open invitation from both of us, 5:30 a.m. with Casey Schaefer.
Yes.
Tuesday, Wednesday,
nobody
Thursday.
sees you.
Yeah.
And if you decide you don't want to do that, I turn my video off. I'm in my jammies. I get up and do it. And then actually, I think I had the coronavirus there for a while. I lost a month of January, and the only thing that I could do was get up for that hour and do yoga, and I thought it was really good to help me breathe. And then I would go right back to bed, and I was just really down. And again, it highlighted my thankfulness to live here, to have that opportunity to try to better my body, even if it was for an hour while I was sick. And also thankful for yoga. Yeah, it helps. It doesn't hurt.
Gotta keep moving the older you get. You know, this is a season of Lent, and I think Sandijean has really emphasized, you know, a lot of times Lent is when we give up something. But you know, this year the emphasis really has been, what can we give to others? So let's keep that in mind and realizing, and one reason too we wanted to talk to Sandijean is because she is about giving. So let's all give a little bit more during this season of Lent. God bless.